What's up, everybody? This is Joseph R. Wheeler, the third, the artist, the founder, and the president of the ONYXCON Foundation. And this is another special ride along with me as I chatted up with you episode of The Business, where we talk about the ins and the outs of being in the film business or other parts of the arts entertainment industries. I make that plural because the advice and things that I'm talking about, whether they apply to you directly, the inspiration might apply to you in general. So I hope so. That's part of our goal with ONYXCON, to influence, to inspire. I mean, that's really what we're all about, you know. And as we say, ONYXCON is a lifestyle. So if you're living the art life and you're doing it responsibly, ethically, with purpose, you know your purpose, you know what you're here to leave as a legacy, and you are doing that, walking that code of honor and whatnot in your life, you might just be living the ONYXCON lifestyle of art life. Because art life is broad. There's many types of art life. But we claim many of them. And we are one who, I like to say, I helped pioneer the phrase, definitely. It was not regularly used on social media until, yes, yours truly started using it years ago. I claim that. It ain't debatable. It's factual. It's actual. Okay, so today's topic, I just wanted to share with you guys something I talked about in my last video that I put up. I mentioned that I am now SAG-AFTRA eligible, okay? I'm SAG-E, as we say in the biz. And if you know what that means, SAG-AFTRA is one of the most important unions in the film business. If you are a part of SAG, you are a part of the club, so to speak, of professionals, people recognized as professionals in the film business. People who, when people know that you're SAG-E, they know that you're on your way to being SAG. When people know that you're SAG, they know that you take this seriously. Just to be SAG-E lets people know you take this seriously, you've done the work, you paid your dues, basically. You haven't paid the ultimate dues to join the union yet because you gotta have the money to get in the union. But you have done the hard days on set, and you may still be doing them. You may still be doing them. I guarantee you most of the time you're still doing them. I know I am. But you might be at a point in your career where you're a little bit more picky, like I am, and you more or less have set your goal. You know exactly what you want out of this film business. You know exactly what you want for your brand to be as you move up the ladder as an actor, as a writer, as any type of performer. Because SAG-E, by the way, if you're not familiar with exactly what SAG is, SAG stands for, okay, so you can be doing television, as a host of a show, part of a show, on a show, whatever. You could be doing radio. Radio disc jockeys can be a part of SAG. You understand? So it covers a lot of bases, not just the movie biz. And it gives you a lot of options. I mean, as a voice actor, as a voiceover actor, you can be SAG. You can get SAG from doing that too. So there's a lot of angles. And I mean, that opens you up to not only doing commercials with your voice, but also video games, which I would love to do. Animations, you see it all the time. Some of your top-notch stars, Kevin Hart, The Rock, Regina King, I mean, the list goes on and on and on, right? All these amazing people, they do voice acting too. Some of them do more voice acting than they do the acting in front of the camera like they got known for. They may have got known to be a face on a show or whatever, but what has become their bread and butter over the last few years, in some cases, has been voice acting. I've met a lot of voice actors who told me that's if you can get that, get the equipment to set up a home studio, you're good. As long as, you got the phone ringing, the email chiming, you're good. Like, you can literally live off of that. It's really great work. But it is very selective, and they tend to want certain voices, and like anything, there's a certain amount of training involved. I've applied for stuff with voice acting, and I've never been told that I don't have the voice for it. A lot of people like my voice, but I have been told, you need to get the formal training. They always want to ask the question, who you training with? And if they don't ask that, they always ask if you have a home studio. And that's where that part always gets to be a headache, because you're like, look, yo, that's expensive. That's really expensive. And I don't have the money right now. And, you know, I have other bills. I had pre-existing bills, you know what I'm saying? Them lingering bills. You know, we got student loans that even though they're supposed to be getting written off a certain amount, if you apply, you still got to wait for that to be approved and everything. Folks out there who feel me, because I know I applied, and you know, you're waiting around, you're wondering when, okay, gotta wait through the holidays to see what that's gonna be. And then it's one of those things where, like, you know, they say they want you to have a certain type of sound equipment, because if you don't have the right muffles in a room, you're gonna get echoes and things of that nature. But I'm gonna give y'all a little tip of something I do for a lot of my videos. When y'all hear my voice as a voiceover, I don't do this every time, but 90% of the time, this is what I do in my own videos. And I go back and listen not only on my phone, but on other people's computers and TVs and everything, so I can see if the quality of the sound is what I would consider professional, or what my ear is used to hearing, and saying, yeah, I don't hear any echoes, I don't hear any weird ticks and scratches or anything. It's just, it's crisp. And I'm gonna say my technique is on par with any sound studio. Now, you know, I'm sure there'll be people who would easily object to that if they make their living off of this, and they've spent that money that was so-called required to even get involved. They might feel some kind of way about what I'm about to say, but I'm here to help people to get to the next level, and I truly feel like there's a way to do it, so do it. If you don't have the equipment to do so-called professional sound studio in your home and buy a bunch of expensive extra equipment, you're probably watching me right now on a really expensive smartphone, or whatever level of smartphone it is. If it's a smartphone, it costs you a grip, and it more than likely has a sound recorder, all right, that can record your voice. That's all I use. I got an iPhone. It's not the newest one, but I go in my closet. I have my closet where I keep a couple of closets, but one closet where I keep my clothes from my home studio. That's why I still look at, as far as I'm concerned, that's a studio and a closet. You feel me? And there's enough clothes in there that it muffles that echo issue. When I close the door in that room, as long as there's nothing too crazy going on outside that room with sound, when, you know, I cut off the TV, I'm far enough away from a refrigerator or anything else that would give me other ambient sound, I promise you, that sound is perfectly crisp. My voice is immaculate, all right? And I don't know if this is gonna, you know, well, I was about to say, I don't know if this is gonna hurt me later, some professional voice gatekeeper. Because here's my thing about gatekeepers. Let me finish my statement. Mess around and say, oh, you know, we watched your video on YouTube. It wasn't professionally done in a studio where you had to pay an arm and a leg per hour for you to do this, Mr. Wheeler. So even though we hired you for the job, because we were impressed with your resume, your sound resume, when you sent in an audition, now that we know what you're doing to do this, we're not going to work with you because we don't think that's professional enough, because now we know what you're doing. First of all, by the time that happens, I might have the equipment. But in the meantime, I'm not about to wait around. I'm not about to pretend that what I hear does not sound professional. I'm going to use what I've got to get where the hell I'm going, okay? And I hope my friends and family out here in this art life will do the same for themselves. Don't ever let anybody, if your work is working, if it's working for you, and you got a technique that's working for you, that is professional. Your approach and everything, your end result is professional, and no one can deny that, and there's no reason to say it's not. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep doing what you are doing. Because here's what I define as gatekeeping. When people who are in positions to give people a doggone chance, knowing how much stuff costs out here to get to the next level and where somebody might be in their life, or just assuming on some very false timeline that, oh, you're at that age, or you're at this point in life, oh, well, you should have this much money according to our statistical data, or whatever. That's garbage. That's BS. That's not reality. We wouldn't have Samuel L. Jackson, who blew up in his 50s. We wouldn't have a ton of different actors and actresses that are legends, literal legends, some of the top in the game, A-list actors, A-list actresses. We would not have them if someone had not seen their raw ass talent and just said, this person's straight up raw talent. I'm not holding them back. I'm not getting in their way. not only, it's not even about just giving them a chance. I'm not getting in the way of destiny. The universe is saying this is meant to be. Let me get out of there. Let me not be a reason they don't make it to where they're supposed to be right now. Yes, you are hired. Yes, you are casted. And I'm going to look out and make sure you keep getting work because you're absolutely amazing. That's what we need to start happening. And I've got a big issue with that whole gatekeeping element. You know what I'm saying? It's a huge issue. And I only call it that. People love to throw around phrases. We're in the era of cancel culture and all this other mess with social media. But I don't use these little terms lightly. I use specific, okay, qualifying things before I go throw a label on something. So to me, you're a gatekeeper if there's no reason to deny somebody an opportunity and you're casting for something. You're looking for employees. You're an employer, you're looking for employees, and you're denying people who are obviously qualified, showing no reason to not be, simply because, well, I haven't seen them in anything. That's the damn reason you hired them. You need to be putting new faces on the screen. People, believe it or not, I know it's all about money and everybody just want, at the end of the day, that's all, everybody, money. Gotcha. We all need it. We want the opportunity. In part, mainly, in many for your life, mainly, but for your art as an artist, of course, the art is first. But we gotta live. You can't live off of, oh, I'm passionate. No, you can't live on just passion. You got to have passion to get there. But I am sick and tired of pretending that the money doesn't matter. So I'm not gonna play that game, all right? We're not gonna do that with your mind. I'm not saying that. But I am saying, don't have the money in front of the level of dedication and talent and training and everything else you need to get to certain places. You still got to do the work. There's no way around the work, right? I'm just giving you some alternatives on how to get there within your means. And I'm sharing that a lot of gatekeepers don't respect that because some of them know damn full well they didn't get there because of their talent. They didn't get to positions of power a lot of times because of their talent. Some did. And most of the time, they can recognize the real when they see it in you, which is why they're not gatekeepers. Those I'm thinking of people I know who I've shared my work with, to get feedback on an independent film I shot. I produced, I wrote, I did the whole doggone thing. They know how hard it is to make something like that. They've done that before. They've done independent films with their friends. They've done things that required them to just make it happen with what they had. And they can see it in your work. And then they're not gonna rate that on the same bar as the newest HBO Max special, Amazon special. They're not rating you against Lord of the Rings and the newest Marvel movie and stuff like that. But they are gonna see if you have genuine talent that you cast, if you're in it, yourself included. They're gonna see if the writing is actually quiet. What are y'all saying? What are the lines? Oh man, that's really a good line. That's really powerful. This person actually has storytelling ability. This person actually has pizzazz, and their characters are rich with all types of qualities that anybody could relate to and want to know more about. That's all that matters in great storytelling. It does not matter about the budget and all the other stuff. It's what did you end up with? What's the bottom line? What was the final product? And how good was that as a concept? Okay? That's how real non-gatekeepers are going to weigh in on your stuff. Now, they can only help as much as they can. This is the other thing I don't hold against people who are non-gatekeepers, because sometimes people are quick to still label those people as gatekeepers because they're like, oh, you didn't help me, and they whine and complain because they want them to just, bestow upon them something overnight and they get famous the next day or something. Like it doesn't work that way. It does not work that way. I know for a fact one of the main reasons I've gotten a lot of the opportunities I've gotten is because I'm always present. I stay on set as much as I can. I hate to go a week where I don't get booked. And I'm talking about if it's just background. I do not, as much as I'm tired of doing background, been tired of doing background for years, been sick of background, right? But at the same time, I still love what it gives me because I'm always meeting somebody else I'm supposed to meet. Because I don't go there and waste my time. I don't just sit around, eat the snacks, wait on lunch, flake off, try not to get picked. I want to be picked. Now, if I get on the set where I can see they're not organized, you know, that's a whole nother conversation. You know, you get there and you can see the crew is a little off. They're not in tandem with each other. They're not working well together. It's weird. It's got bad energy. Those are the ones, yeah, I may, you know, not, hey, y'all ready? We're going to set. I may take my time. I ain't rushing. I'll go, but I ain't rushing because I can see y'all got a lot of mess going on. But if y'all are organized, y'all are professional, they're treating background with respect and dignity, oh man, I'm not necessarily running again to the front of the line, but when it comes to, you know, them calling out specific categories of whatever my character is, I'm like, yes, right here, ready to work, let's go. You know, I'm serious about it. Let's go. Let's get it in. Because I know I'm always seconds away from that camera. And directors and cameras seem to love me. I'm always getting another feature. I mean, at this point in my career, I say well, it's a fact. I am definitely hitting records for the amount of times I've been prominently featured. I ain't talking about a little bit. I'm talking about show enough features. I'm talking about somebody saw me do something in the first rehearsal or the first take and said, oh my gosh, I love that. Keep doing that, sir. We love it. Or then they expand and say, sir, we're going to have you do this much more. And there's so much more that in most of those cases, it always feels like, man, this guy should have at least a word as a line, you know, something. That doesn't necessarily happen, but you can feel it. You can feel it coming. It's meant to be. So by the time I did get my opportunity that made me SAG eligible, I know it was a culmination of years and years of work. I've been in this thing for 9 years and I just never stopped. I always want to be on set. You know, you got a lot of folks who, it depends on your financials again. I'm on a very fixed income right now. Hopefully I'll look back at this video in the next month and laugh and be like, man, remember when I was still saying that? And look how much changed in a month. I'm good now. I'm great. I want to be there. But right now, I'm on a very fixed income. And I have a lot of stuff that I got to handle, right? So I don't have the kind of money to just go to classes all the time, which is what you'll hear a lot. You hear people saying, oh, are you in class? I've had classes. I will brag on the top of the mountain. I've had, in my opinion, probably, if there was a list of the top 5 instructors in the Atlanta area, I know I had missed number 1 once upon a time. I shout out forever and a day. Her name is Tinashe Kajese. What's up, Tinashe, if you ever see this? I absolutely love that woman as a teacher. She is the rock for me. She is I'm not talking about the actor The Rock, Dwayne Johnson. I'm saying she's my rock in terms of what I always go back to when I need to be reminded why I've got what it takes. Because not only was that my first ever class, but it was an affordable class. It was literally like she was doing charity. I mean, it was really, I won't even get into the money of it. I'm just gonna say, the average acting class in the Atlanta area is gonna be in hundreds, if not at least a little over 100 a month. Now, it doesn't sound too bad, you know, because it's your passion, this is what you want. You gotta spend money to make money. I hear it all the time, understand the concept. I'm a businessman. I run a business. I run ONYXCON. It's a nonprofit. I get it. I run other businesses. I understand. But if you do not have it and you want to do voiceover again, back to that, get in that muffled closet and dare somebody to tell you once they hear it. You know, do it. That's like blindfolding somebody and letting them eat something and then they lie to you and tell you or try to pretend they're not eating what they're eating. You know what you're hearing. You know what you're sensing. This is just as good. Now, I'm not saying that the mic is, you know, the mic on an iPhone is necessarily as whatever as some other super top of the tier. I don't know. I'm not a technical guy, right? I don't even get into all of that much. That's not my job. I'm a performer. I'm a hardcore artist. I am here to make the art. I'm here to give you the vision. I have the big idea. I have the $1 billion concept. All I need is a team to make it happen, and we can all make some money. Which is the funny thing I get into also with technical types. I notice people who are super duper technical, they'll hold up a project because they're so busy trying to have the most fancy stuff. But if you don't have the vision, you could have a $1 billion camera and still end up with a $2,000 looking project because the person doesn't have vision. You gotta have a shared passion and vision for whatever it is. So all I'm gonna say about that again is don't let any of that hold you back. When you don't have the money for classes and things, I quickly found out that first of all, I used to audit classes a lot. And I remember I went to one for about a month Well, no, it wasn't a month. It was a couple of weeks because they wouldn't let you go. You know, it gave you about, it was pretty cool. It gave you about 2 weeks. And you could come, get used to the class, meet the other people, get a feel for the instructor, see if you like it. It was decent, but when when people are saying who they were or whatever, and they're going around the room, and let's say there was 10 people, me and only like 2 other people in the entire class had ever been on set, and were doing this for real with the ambition of being film actors. Everybody else had done some plays when they were young, and they just thought they want to get back into this because they see the film business is in Atlanta. They're like, oh, I want to try that. I want to do it. I want to. Yo, that's fine. That's cool. But when that's the majority of the students, and I can see that the teacher has their own agenda to do their short films and everything, and hire or not have to hire their students because their students will work for free just to show up in a first film and get something on their reel. Oh, that's cool. You know, I will still work with certain people I've worked with before to build my reel and do small, short, independent projects where it's little to no money. I'm cool with that, even still, as I'm SAG-E. Now, once I go SAG, might be a different story because, you know, once you get an agent and you should be getting regular work and auditions, I wouldn't even have the time. I shouldn't have the time. It should be on and popping by then, right? But right now, while I'm still out here kind of hungry for it all, yo, I'll work with my good friends. But for a teacher that I didn't necessarily like this person's work, what they had produced. I went and looked them up. You know, you do your research. He wasn't a bad teacher, but it was kind of, it's not even ego talk. It was beneath where I had already been. You can't start with a teacher like Tinashe and go down to somebody who is just okay, if you will. Like maybe they need to still be acting and not teaching because they're not even really a teacher, you know? So picking a teacher is like picking a mechanic or a good doctor. You get the wrong one, it can mess your body up with a doctor, right? You get the wrong one, it can mess your car up. It give you more problems than you came in to fix one problem. You end up leaving with 5, right? So it's the same way in anything, and I mean anything. Went through this when I was going through, you know, as a visual artist, which is my first love, drawing, painting, etc. I can remember in college, you had different types of instructors there. You had people who really just there to get a check. They're depressed, they're done, they're tired. If you ever seen the movie Art School Confidential, I love that movie. I recommend it all the time to other artists, especially visual artists, but any type of artist. Watch that movie, okay? John Malkovich was one of the stars in it. John Malkovich, excellent comedic, crazy actor. And I don't know the name of the other folks on the cast, but there was a lot of great talent in it. It's an excellent film. It's in my collection. I had to get the DVD. It's amazing. But Art School Confidential. The funniest thing they showed through that film was how you had all these teachers that were like burnt out, tired. Like they're always the same for the most part, where they wanted to be famous artists in the gallery world. It never happened. So then they teach because they're forced to teach, because that's how the system is set up, where like, if you don't make it there, you just teach. It's like, I don't want to damn teach. I've been in school, I'm working my ass off to try and get there. Why do I just want to teach if that's not my passion? And then they end up doing it, so they're not good teachers because that's not their passion. They just come to class and they mope and they tell you how you're not going to make it like them because they're depressed. A lot of them are alcoholics and crazy. I mean, it's serious. They show that in the movie. They show all that. They show all that, right? And so you deal with the same thing in other parts of the art world. In Hollywood, you got a lot of the same stuff going on a whole nother grandiose level, right? Because somebody could have made it, had 15 minutes of fame and not want to have to teach or something, then they end up being a teacher on the side to make a little extra money. And they're not really necessarily trying to push anybody to the next level because they don't know how to get there themselves. They didn't get there, or whatever the reasons may be, you know? In some cases, you got people who could be really great teachers, but they got that mental block of, why am I teaching? I should be famous. And they probably should be. But the damn gatekeepers got in the way. So you see, it's a whole system to this thing, you see? So you can't let any of these things deter you from why you're there. I've learned that the only people I ever want to work with in life are people who really love what I do, see my talent, are not trying to use me and abuse me for their own reasons, and then throw me away and all that other stuff that is so common, right? You want people who genuinely believe in your talent and want to ride with you on the wave. Like they really want to go as far as they can go with you, even if they're not meant to go all the way, because even that has, you know, different determinations. But they're perfectly happy with being a certain part of your life. And I'm like this about a lot of parts of life. I don't like dealing with anybody who's unrealistic about how far things should and can and will go based on your resources. You can only do as much as you can while your resources are a certain way. And if somebody says, well, you ain't gonna get a regular job, now you're getting into fighting words with an artist. Because this is our regular job. This is what we're here to do. We're here to create and share our art with the world. And we keep the world stable, quite frank, too. It's right brain, left brain. And it's one brain, y'all. You got to learn to not be at war with those two sides. But the reason why artists are fired up, and I admit I'll stay fired up about this, is because the art side of the brain, the creative side of the brain, does not get the love it's supposed to get in this society. If it did, half of the stuff I'm talking about wouldn't even exist. It wouldn't even exist. Because, again, back to like the gatekeepers. Sometimes gatekeepers, they're more analytical people than creative people, so they don't respect creatives because they're jealous of creators. So they get in the way of real creators creating because they're like, oh, I wish I could do that. I can't do that. So they just stay in your way. So some of them, they're just jealous. And that's a big reason for a lot of their energy and what they do. Not all of them. Then you got the other ones. Then you got, like I say, the creative, that's the broken-hearted creative. The person that could have made it big and gatekeepers got in their way. So it's like a sick cycle, y'all. It's a real sick cycle, and it's got to be broken. Because if it's never broken, we're going to constantly keep getting people who block each other because of their jealousies, their insecurities, their doubts that they're going to make money because they're trying to do everything off of some formula always. Like, I understand economics. It's one of those hats I was forced to wear that I didn't always want to have to wear, but as an artist, doing it the way I've always had to do it, you got to learn something about economics. And I've just been blessed to have that in my family. My dad's an economist. So thanks to him and others in my life who are money-minded people, they've helped me to understand a whole lot about how that works and how your mind has to work in respect to that to be a successful artist. Now, someone will say, yeah, but you ain't rich yet. It ain't all about being rich yet, right? Trust, things take time. Nothing happens overnight. I said 9 years in, SAG-E in Atlanta, not in LA, not in New York. I'm in ATL, where everybody's making a mint in Hollywood off of our tax incentives because the government is working with all of that. But for the locals, the real heart, red clay people like me, we gotta fight to prove ourselves as talent locally versus people being brought in from everywhere else. And we still make it happen. You feel me? And I even had to go out of state for my first opportunity. But again, that was because of somebody in my network not being a gatekeeper. Someone who showed true love to me, not just because of our relationship as friends, but because they saw the talent that I was building and they saw the work I was putting in year after year after year after year after year. So when they got to a position where they could open a door for me, they knew it's like sticking their neck out for you. It's like, don't make me look bad without even having to say that. It's kind of like, you can't just, whenever you bring in somebody of course everybody's thinking, oh, you just hired your friend. No. If it's real, like it was for me, I had to prove myself. I had to pay them dues all them years. This didn't happen like within the first 2 or 3 years just because I knew somebody. This took years. So I'm very proud that for myself, this is how I think of it. I'm saying I'm just very proud to know I've done the work. So by the time I got in front of that camera and I'm saying something, yeah, I earned every step of this. This ain't just fate. This is not favoritism. This is work, people. This is work. And everybody I've met along the way and that I'm still meeting, I often think, I can't wait to get to a position of power where now I'm in the role of somebody would want to call the man standing at the gate. Is he a gatekeeper or is he opening the gate? Of course, not everybody gets to go in the gate. You got to keep the riffraff out. You got to keep the folk who think they worthy and they're not out. You got to keep the folk who are not willing to work out. You got to keep the folk who might be amazingly talented but have an extremely bad attitude and don't know how to work with people and keep themselves calm and be professional. You got to keep them out. But for everybody who does the exact opposite of all those negative energies, come on in. Let's make some money. Let's make some memories. Let's make some art. Let's go. I can't wait. And I've already done it. I've done it with shoestring to no string budget, as I call it. Helping people out. That's what ONYXCON does. That's what I do. Seeing the light and the worthy talents and giving them a platform. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode of the business. Keep going. Don't stop. You can get past the gate. Show them what you got. Do it for yourself. Don't wait for nobody. Use what you got to get where you're trying to be right now. You can't afford it. Do what you can with what you can afford. As long as it's professional, they can't deny it. Go for it.